8 years ago, I had $500 in a wallet that had seen better days. Today, that number has 7 zeros. This isn't luck. This isn't an inheritance. This isn't a lottery ticket. This is 96 months of decisions most people are never taught to make. If you want to retire before your parents did, sit down. This is the ledger. I was 18 years old. Minimum wage. A cracked phone screen. A wallet that echoed when I opened it. My friends were leasing cars they couldn't afford and buying sneakers on credit cards they'd be paying off for years. I watched them, and I thought I was the one falling behind. I wasn't investing. I wasn't saving. I was surviving paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't even know there was another way to live. Most people stay in this chapter for their entire lives. Not because they're lazy, because nobody ever showed them the math. Nobody sits you down in school and explains what a dollar can become if you leave it alone for years. So you spend it, because spending is the only lesson anyone ever taught you. Then I found an old paperback in a box at my grandfather's house. A book on compound interest, dog-eared and yellowed. One sentence stopped me cold. Money doesn't care how hard you work. It only cares how long you let it sit. I read that page 4 times. That was the day the ledger started. Not with a windfall, not with a lucky break, with $500 and a decision. The first rule was brutal but simple. Pay yourself first. Before rent, before food, before anything else. A fixed percentage moved into an account I wasn't allowed to touch. I opened a brokerage account and put it into low-cost index funds. Nothing exotic. Nothing that promised overnight riches. I picked up a second stream of income on weekends. Small jobs, side work, whatever paid. And every extra dollar went to the same place. 4 years of this. No new car, no upgraded apartment, no vacations I couldn't pay for in cash. Friends called it boring. I called it the boring middle nobody shows you in the highlight reel. By 22, the number read $80,000. It didn't feel like much. It felt like 4 years of saying no. Here's the part most people get wrong. $80,000 sitting quietly in index funds wasn't going to become $1 million in 4 years. The math doesn't work that way, and I knew it. So at 22, I looked at what I actually had. Not just savings, but something else. That weekend side job, the one I'd been doing just for extra cash, had quietly turned into something people kept asking for more of. A handful of customers had become a waiting list. I sat with the numbers for a long time before I moved a single dollar. Then I took 1/3 of what I'd saved and put it back into that. Not the market. Not because it was safe, because it wasn't. And because I finally had proof it could work before I bet on it. The first year running it while still saving was brutal. Slow months, where it barely covered its own costs. Nights spent fixing problems instead of sleeping. I still kept a full-time job through most of it. This wasn't a leap of faith. It was a hedge. There was a stretch around month 8 where I seriously considered shutting it down and putting what was left back into the index funds, where it was safe. I didn't. I kept the same rule from before. Every dollar of profit went straight back in, not into my pocket. No lifestyle upgrade. Same apartment, same car, or no car at all. Slowly, the slow months became fewer. By 24, it had grown past what my day job was paying me. That was the first year I stopped calling it a side hustle. Between 24 and 26, two things were compounding at once. The index funds, quietly, in the background, still doing what they'd always done for 6 years, and the business, which had gone from covering its own bills to generating more in a single quarter than my day job used to pay me in a year. At 25, I finally left the day job, not before the business had already proven, for over a year, that it could support me. I brought on one contractor to keep up with demand. I reinvested almost everything that came in, the same habit that built the first 80,000. The two lines on the chart, the slow one and the fast one, were finally adding up to something neither one could have done alone. At 26, I opened the accounts, both of them, and the combined number read $1,140,000. 8 years. Not a lottery ticket, not a lucky trade. $500, a decision, 4 years of discipline, and 2 more of betting on myself once I had something worth betting on. My parents are still working. I love them for it. They gave me everything they had. But nobody sat either of us down and explained that saving alone rarely gets you here this fast. That the second half of this story took a risk. Most people are never taught how to take responsibly. The gap between broke and free wasn't just time. It was knowing exactly when patience needed to become something bolder. 3 things made the difference. 4 years of a savings rate I never negotiated with myself on. The discipline to reinvest instead of spend once there was something worth reinvesting into. And knowing the difference between saving safely and betting on something I'd already proven could work. If you're 18 or 22 or 40, the best time to start this ledger was 8 years ago. The second best time is today. If this resonated, subscribe. There's a lot more in this ledger.